I mean, you can only be good at so many things. I will leave that to the lawyers who specialize in that. They will do a better job. I will keep you out of jail if you shoot someone.
And I'll keep the law as clean as humanly possible to make life a little bit easier.
Perfect. We are the Armed Attorneys. Today we are back with another Mailbag Monday. Today we're talking about ATF traps on vertical grips on your pistols. We're talking about signage, what's legal, what's not. And we're going to talk about being lead counsel on major 2A cases. But before we get started, show your support for the Second Amendment by hitting the like button.
And sale going on in the Armed Attorney Shop, 20% off through April the 17th. Get yourself a warrant mug, Clarence Thomas Deal With It mug, a 2A Bestie mug.
Sure enough.
The Cash Only No Papers, very popular. Go check those guys out. It really helps out the channel, and you get something cool out of it. But I say it every time. These are my favorite segments, so let's go through some questions. All right, let's start this off with Kevin Bacon 922. Is it worth the time and effort to go to as many states as possible to request a concealed carry permit in their respective states? This way, skirting the nationwide reciprocity that we are all hoping for.
No.
Yeah, I would say that's a huge waste of time.
Yeah, I would say more than one license, not necessarily a waste of time, because you might find that you go to a state consistently that A, does not have constitutional carry, and B, does not recognize your home state license, but will in fact recognize a Texas non-resident or, something to that effect. Great. But I would be very specific about it. It doesn't hurt you to have a whole bunch of them necessarily, because barring you telling everyone all that information and then having to get into a self-defense incident and then the prosecution making you seem crazy, it doesn't hurt you other than your time and your money, but I just don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, there was a news report. It was a couple got their license and permits in all the states and spent, it was thousands of dollars and lots of training and all kinds of, probably not worth it. If you live on a state border, maybe you get your border states, license, but I wouldn't go much further than that.
Yeah. All right, we've got at Daniel Allam 02075. If some private place that's open to the public denies your right to carry for personal protection, are they responsible for your protection? If not, why not?
All right. I love this question. We don't have any cases to point you to, but here's what I want everybody to kind of keep the napkin math in the background of your mind. If you're an invitee, you're going to a public business, guess what? They're going to make some money off of you because they're selling goods or services. They have a little bit of a heightened duty to you, and that's like safety. That's why they put up the slip and fall signs, right? Well, guess what? If they fall below this duty, well, maybe they cause you damage. They've deprived you of your right to defend yourself. Is that considered falling below that duty of care? They didn't provide safety for you. That breach caused you damage. I'm ready for that lawsuit to drop because I want to see this explored and litigated. We don't have any answers for it. I would say maybe.
I'm going to say no. And
we're trying to pass a law in Texas making it that way. Though.
Right. No, if someone legislates this into being, hell yeah, brother. That is how you're going to get your damages for this. But I'm going to say no on general tort theory, not because I don't want it to be, but just because let's say that they take away your gun, you walk in, and bad person criminal comes in, does bad thing. You can't protect yourself because they took away your gun. There is some causation there, but legal causation is different. And proximate cause is often severed by superseding or intervening criminal acts, which is what happened to you after they took your gun away. Now, there is causation built in there, right? But for my lack of firearm, would my damages have been mitigated because I could have defended myself? Perhaps. But is the legal causation there after the intervening or superseding criminal act? Really?
Well,
I don't know, man.
I think it comes down to foreseeability. And this is what we would just need the right facts for the right case.
Yes.
Like if we have a taqueria that gets robbed every single week and the owner's like, can't bring guns in here to defend yourself. And something happens, patron gets hurt. Are they on notice? Is this foreseeable? We're getting robbed all the time. We're depriving our people the ability to defend themselves.
But we were just trying to tell the robbers not to come in with guns because they listen to signs.
Sure, exactly right. They follow the law.
All right.
So you would need the right facts for it. It's a very interesting theory. We don't have a case to point to, but I love it. All right, we have at Chris Muncie YouTube channel member. Hey, thanks for being a member. Hey, Emily, sounds like you're still a little bit hoarse. Is that why you've been out for the past few videos? Not that I don't enjoy seeing Edwin on the channel, but I was just curious.
Well, thank you for noticing. No, I'm always hoarse because my children are tiny germ factories. And so there's always a cold circulating in my house. No, Richard and I are actually, you'll notice that we're both sort of in and out over these next few
Probably
weeks
till
to
June.
months. Yeah. It is just the legislative session in Texas is hot and heavy right now. So, we're going up to Austin, we're testifying, we're talking to lawmakers. That just requires a little bit more flexibility in our schedule, unfortunately, than we sometimes have for these videos. So,
A committee that sometimes we have to show up in appears on Tuesdays, which is,
it's our filming day.
yeah,
We
typically.
film on Tuesdays.
Most of the time.
On Tuesdays, we wear pink and we film. No, we wear these. Well, except me. I am not. I'm out of uniform again. Richard knows this, but I will tell you guys here because I feel like it's the people who like us who watch these Monday videos.
Sure.
I am once again with child, and I need to find my blue shirt for my belly,
I'll get you a fishing shirt.
and I have not. Oh God, no. No, thank you. I will find it, and then I will once again be in blue. But until I dig out the shirt from the closet, we'll go with whatever I've got on.
Yeah, but the legislative session keeps us super busy, and we divide and conquer.
Yes. Okay. At David M357, are any of the armed attorneys licensed to practice in other states? And then we have a response from Jeffrey Howe.
That's what I really wanted to talk about.
Yeah, 111392. C. Pro Hoc Vice. Richard, are you licensed somewhere else? And what is Pro Hoc?
All right, so nobody in our office is licensed outside of the state of Texas. We handle Texas cases, but we have an incredible network of folks that we've met over the years. And if y'all need a referral to somebody, feel free to message us on the website, shoot us an email. We'll point you in the right direction. We stick it to Texas, but this Pro Hoc Vice thing, that's if you see that word thrown around, that should be a red flag.
Yeah, I am now. What is Pro Hoc? Pro Hoc, you're an attorney licensed in good standing in your home state. You are hired by a client in a different state. There are different requirements everywhere, but essentially you petition the court along with an attorney who is in fact licensed in that state, and you want to Pro Hoc in, and the court allows you to essentially be provisionally licensed. That's the Pro Hoc Vice process in that state for the purposes of litigating that case. It is a thing. It is done. It is not difficult procedurally to Pro Hoc in somewhere. Practically speaking, I am a hell of a self-defense attorney in Texas because I know this law, not just the statutes, the case law, and the way Texas courts apply it.
In each jurisdiction.
In each jurisdiction. I know this stuff as well as any attorney in the entire state of Texas, and I can say that proudly because I know it to be true. If I Pro Hoc into New Hampshire, I'm just another trial attorney. I no longer have those benefits, and you would be better served with a trial attorney who has been eating, living, sleeping, breathing New Hampshire self-defense law
like
for the
the
last
great
12
and powerful
years.
Evan Nappen.
That is true. That is the great and powerful Evan Nappen. But it's my personal belief is it is not to your benefit as the client to have an attorney Pro Hoc in.
No, and again, these courts, you're asking the court for permission to practice for this matter only, and you're saying this is, and these courts, and each state's different. They have different criteria that they look at. Do you have a long-term and ongoing relationship with this client? Is it really just for this one-time deal? Are you associating with other counsel? They look at all these things, and, this is a high-profile case. This happened to Tony Busby. Was it the Jay-Z law or the Diddy lawsuit? It's one of the lawsuits up in New York. He filed a lawsuit without asking the court to Pro Hoc in, then asked for Pro Hoc. The court said, no, you can't do this. And basically we'll see what happens with this, but a court can deny Pro Hoc Vice. And this is,
Although
it's not
rarely, they rarely do, but they can.
I've seen it happen more and more
Really?
frequently. Yeah, I've seen some horror stories. So, you want to have an attorney who's can practice in your jurisdiction.
To me, it's not even about the denial of it. It's about do you really want it? And
Right.
but for the best trial attorney in the entire world come back to life to defend me from the grave out of state. Like, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. No, there's pros and cons to it. I think the cons probably outweigh it.
Yep.
All right, next one we have Brandon Vincent 3314. I put this on your last video, but I'm really hoping for some guidance, so I'm posting it again. What is the deal with foregrips on AR pistols? The ATF says adding a vertical foregrip to an AR pistol converts it into an AOW because it is now designed to be fired using two hands. Does the presence of a handguard not indicate that the weapon is designed to be fired with two hands? The ATF also shows angled foregrips on pistols for some reason, and this somehow doesn't convert the weapon into AOW, despite clearly being a device to increase the non-firing hand's grip on the weapon. Why is this? Yeah, the ATF loves taking pieces of plastic and turning it into crimes. So
That they do.
but
That is their
all right,
specialty.
so here's what we're looking at. We're not looking at a traditional rifle or shotgun. We're looking at firearms, things not designed and intended to be fired from the shoulder. We're looking at things under 26 inches. And then, hey, look, is this no longer designed to be fired with one hand because it's going to kind of claw it out of the pistol category and put it somewhere else? And that's what we're talking about with
Right.
AOWs.
Never mind that no one shoots an AR pistol with one hand.
No. I mean, yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
But it technically falls into the category of pistol being defined as something that is capable of being fired from one hand, designed for being fired with one hand, despite the fact that, like, I don't even
fire my Glock with one hand.
No, I don't either. So I'm, like, unless I can learn how to do it like they do it in the movies where I tilt it sideways.
Sure.
That's the only way I would ever do
The
it.
movies.
So no. However, yes, once you add a vertical foregrip, you have turned it into an AOW because it is now designed to be fired with two hands. You were going to do that anyway, but it's just the most bizarre, nonsensical rule. Now, if you want to put an angled foregrip on it, go with God. That is fine for reasons. So yes, you have, I mean, it is a really good question, but ultimately you end with, why is this?
And why are you the way you are?
Why are you the way that you
meme
are,
with the
ATF?
mom screaming at the kid in the back seat. Why can't you be normal?
Why can't you be normal?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the answer to that is, you, Brandon Vincent, have an absolutely perfect understanding of the law as it currently sits. But the question of why is unanswerable. Unanswerable. Just don't do it.
Yeah. And I'll say all these kind of angled foregrips, the thumb stocks, not all these devices are created equally. Mm-hmm. If it transforms it, I mean, this is one of those things. ATF inspector person is going to say, is this designed to be a hand grip or is it supposed to be something else? Just be careful when you're looking at this stuff. The more it looks like a vertical foregrip, probably the more danger you're in. The less it looks like a vertical foregrip, the less danger you're in. I've seen the magazine things at the front. I mean, I think ATF hasn't gotten mad at those yet, but that sure as heck looks like a vertical foregrip to me. So, be careful.
Yeah, sure enough. All right, at Texas Zombie 7689, does the 51% sign need to be posted around the entrance of the restaurant to be enforceable?
All right, yeah, quick Texas-specific question.
Yes, so what is a 51% sign, Richard?
So our bars, places that receive 51% or more of their gross receipts for on-premises consumption, sale of alcohol for on-premises consumption, that's a bar. We all know what a bar looks like. Well, they have to post special signs if they want to exclude folks with firearms. Now, here is the hiccup. If a bar does not post a sign, a bar is off limits all the time to Texas constitutional carriers. Folks who do not have a license or permit to carry, signs completely irrelevant.
You do not have to know it's a bar. You can think it is a restaurant that does not serve 51% or more of its gross receipts for the on-site consumption of alcohol, and it does not matter. If you are wrong about that, you have committed a felony, Texas constitutional carriers.
Yeah, and license holders, we get a really specific notice requirement. The business shall prominently display at each entrance to the business premises a sign. So they got to post that at the entrance. License holders, they don't have that sign. We've had cases like that where the sign was either hiding behind like a, was it like reflective?
It was reflective tint. You could not
see
see
the sign.
Yep.
Is that predominantly posted? No.
No.
Or we've had bars where they have no sign whatsoever. Person carries in. They were a license holder. Hey,
Yeah.
you didn't meet the
Or
sign requirement.
you go find it in the bathroom because it's
Sure.
not out in the open at all. That's a problem for people,
Yeah.
but it should be posted at the entrance and it should be visible. If not, you have a great defense if you are an LTC holder only. I will say if you have a license and you go to the bathroom and all of a sudden you are smacked in the face with a red sign, this is 51%, you should at that point assume you've been put on notice even though it was not at the front entrance displayed predominantly as it should be, and return the firearm to your vehicle.
Yeah, no, I think that's best practice. But another benefit to getting your Texas license to carry. All right, last question. Steve, the moderator, 537. All right, this is kind of a fun one. Would you want to be the lead on a landmark 2A case, or would you rather leave it up to the big gun advocacy groups to try out?
Yeah, that's not my thing. That's
No,
not that's not what we do.
no, I mean, we do. We really want to stay in our lane, do what we're good at. Self defense cases, criminal defense. I'd say we're pretty stinking good at lobbying,
Yeah, that's so because
writing gun policy.
we lobby and write law and we are criminal defense for self-defense. That's one more thing than most lawyers.
Yeah.
So we're not adding big splashy civil rights litigation to that.
That screwed up.
Yeah, I mean, we've been approached, not just by
Yeah.
individual plaintiffs who want us to do it, but we've been
Right.
approached by the big gun groups too. And we say no. I mean, you can only be good at so many things. I will leave that to the lawyers who specialize in that. They will do a better job. I will keep you out of jail if you shoot someone.
And I'll keep the law as clean as humanly possible to make life a little bit easier.
Perfect.
But we enjoy your questions. This is the place to leave them. But we hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you did, consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and help us fight the anti-2A algorithm by sharing this video.
Leave your questions like the ones that you like. That helps us find what we'll answer next Monday. Until next time, we're the Armed Attorneys.